Hi, this is Al Williams of Sunset Hill Solutions. In this video, we're going to have a look at dynamic default date prompts for multi-source universes in Business Objects 4. I previously created a video tutorial on how to do this with a single source universe. I'm not going to go over everything I did in that video, but I'm going to introduce the topic by reviewing what we did in that original video, and then I'll show you how we can achieve the same functionality in Business Objects 4. Let's have a look at the data in the sample database we're using as the basis for this demo. So we basically have a table with products, and we have a table with date dimensions and a fact sales table. So I run the query here. We see that we have 4 rows for every month, so 2013-07, 2013-08, and well, we have 2 rows for September 2013. And the intent, what we want to be able to do is when we run this report in any given month, we want it to automatically give us the previous year month. So when I run this report for September, in the month of September 2013, I want to have the 4 rows from August of 2013. So in addition to having it dynamically pick the previous year month, in this very same report, we also want to give certain users the ability to select the year month when they run the report. So for example, I may want to run this report for 2013-07 even though I'm in the month of September. So we want to achieve 2 things. Number one, if there's no prompt chosen, it's going to automatically revert to the previous year month. If there is a prompt selected, it's going to return the data for that period. So here's how we achieve that functionality with a single source universe. I encourage you to have a look at the entire video I did on this topic if you want more details. In the business layer for our universe, we created a filter, and in the SQL definition, if I expand this here, make it fit better. Okay. So basically we're saying where the year month equals, and then we have a case statement. If there's a prompt that's presented to the user. If they leave the default value, which is YYYYMM, then it's going to run the SQL to dynamically select the previous year month. So these are using date functions in Microsoft SQL Server. They'll be a little bit different if you're using Oracle or Sybase or some other database. So this is SQL Server date functions to retrieve the previous year month. So now we have that filter in the business layer. If we run the report now, we'll see what happens. So here's the report we have that's using the single source universe. If I go to the data access tab and edit the data provider, you can see that we have the product name, year, month, and the sales amount measure, and we're using this dynamic default date prompt. If I run this query, and let's say that I actually pick 2013-07, click OK, and you can see we're getting results for 2013-07. If I now refresh this report and do not select a value, if I just keep the default, you'll see that we're getting results for 2013-08. And the reason we're getting results for 2013-08 is because I'm running this report in September 2013, and that's what we want. So we can go ahead and schedule this report with no parameter selected or no prompt selected, and it's going to automatically pick the previous year month. And this is great in the scenario where you have an automated process to run your monthly reports, for example, within the first couple days of the following month. So in our case, we run all of our August month-end financial reports in the month of September, and they're scheduled and they always come back with the previous year month, which is the intent of this. So far in this video, I reviewed what I did in the previous video to get a dynamic default date prompt to work, but that was with a single source universe. I switched back to Information Design Tool, and I have a new universe now that is multi-source. So here we're looking at the business layer here, and we can see that there are still the three tables. We have the product and date, dimensions, and sales fact table. You see the sales fact table is a different color. In this universe, we are pulling the sales fact table from a SQL Server 2012 table, and the other dimension tables here, they're pulling from the original SQL Server 2008. So we are using, if we have a look at the business layer, a connection to SQL Server 2008 and a connection to SQL Server 2012. If I try and create that same filter that we used in the single source universe, I'm going to go create a new filter. I'll just leave the name, I'll just change it. Dynamic date prompt, and I go to the SQL Assistant, and I paste in the exact same SQL that we used for our single source as the criteria, and click on validate, and it doesn't work in a multi-source universe. Now I'm using Business Objects 4.0 Service Pack 5. I don't think anything has changed in Business Objects 4.1, but I can't be sure of that. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty certain this will not work in Business Objects 4.1. And I think the reason is because we're creating this filter at the business layer level, and it doesn't know, at the business layer level, we're creating a filter that has, using SQL commands native to SQL Server either 2008 or 2012. You could very well have a multi-source universe that's using Sybase or Oracle as the other source, and at the business layer level it doesn't know how to parse the date functions here. That's my guess. I just know that it doesn't work. So we have to find a workaround in order to have the same solution we had with our single source universe. So I'm going to get rid of this prompt because it doesn't work, and we'll keep moving forward. So in order to make this work in a multi-source universe, there may be other ways to do it. This is a way that I found that works, and hopefully it can work for you as well. So I've switched back to SQL Server. I have this SQL statement here, and this is going to, if I execute this query, again I'm running this in September 2013, it's returning 2013-08. This is what I want. Now what I have to do is create a view in the database that has this same criteria. So if I execute this query, it's going to create a view. I go into my views here and refresh. Now I have this dynamic date prompt view in the database itself. I've switched back to Information Design Tool. We're looking at the business layer for a multi-source universe here. And what I want to do now is I want to add that view that we just created in SQL Server. So I right click and select Insert, and we're going to say Tables, because as far as Business Objects is concerned, a view and a table are at the database level in the business layer the same thing. So I'm going to go ahead and select this View Dynamic Date Prompt, say Finish. So now we have this view that we can use in our reports. We're not going to link it to anything. We don't need to. We're just going to keep it here at the business layer level. Okay, so we've added the SQL Server view at the data foundation level. Now we have to create a dimension to pull in that data. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new dimension. Just call it last month. And for the SQL, I just want to pull in the one value we're returning from this view and validate. And good, the expression is valid. So I click OK. I'm going to save our business layer, and I'm going to publish it to our repository. And we'll just overwrite the existing version of this. It's published successfully. We're in Web Intelligence now. We're going to create a new report based on universe. We're going to select the multi-source dynamic universe. And let's see, we're going to bring in product name, the year month. We'll bring in the last month dimension we just created, and we'll pick the sales. We'll just run this query and see what we get. Okay, so we're getting everything that's in the database basically. Here we're getting results for July, August, and September. And you'll notice in the last month column, which is that new dimension we created, we're just getting that one value, 2013-08. So that's the view we created at the SQL Server. That's going to bring back the previous year month, depending on when we run the report. And again, we're running this in September 2013, so it's bringing back August 2013. Okay, I just made a couple changes to the report. I added a total, changed the headings here a little bit, and changed the report. This field here, you'll see I'm getting multi-value right now. The formula that I have is dynamic default date prompt 4, and I'm using the year month dimension, and I'm saying multi-source. So in this case, I'm getting the multi-value error because we're returning different values for year month. We're going to fix that right away. So let's continue. First thing we want to do is we don't need this last month column to be showing in the report, so we'll just get rid of it. Now we'll go into the data access. We'll go into edit the data provider. So this is where we have to build a filter at the report level in order to achieve the same functionality we had before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say year month equals to, and then we're going to make this a prompt. Now we have to make this an optional prompt in order for this to work. And we don't want to keep the last values selected here in order for this to work the way we want it to. So I'll click OK. Then we'll add this back again, year month equal to, and we want an object from this query, and we want to pick that last month dimension we created. We want to change this to OR. So now we bring in year month yet again, and we say year month equal to, okay, this is up here, we're going to make this a prompt, and this is going to be the exact same as the very first one we did. Make this an optional prompt. So this is the way we want this to be for our report. Let me explain how this works. First I'm going to run the report, and then I'll explain how it works. Alright, let's run the query and see if it works. Okay, we're getting a prompt window come up. I'm going to run it without selecting anything. Let's see what happens. So now we are getting results for August 2013, running this report in September, and this is exactly what we want. Let's just refresh it again and actually pick a different value. Then I'll explain how this works. Pick 2013-07. Click OK. Now we're getting results for 2013-07, and this is what we want. Let's go back to the data provider. I'm trying to explain how this works the best I can because it is a little bit confusing. So the first argument we have here is year month equals to, and we have a prompt for the user to select the year and month, and it's an optional prompt. So if they select that prompt, it's going to run the query based on what they've chosen. If they don't, so that's the OR clause here, one of two things has to happen. They either have to select a value from the prompt, and if they don't, it's going to use this last month dimension we brought in. So that's basically how this works. Let's run the query one more time. We'll select a value. We'll select September 2013. Then we'll schedule this report without any options being selected, and we'll see what happens. So again, we're getting results for September 2013 because we explicitly selected that item. Now We want to save this report, and we'll just call it Dynamic Multi, and I'll save it in my favorites. Okay, let's go back into the documents here, go into my documents. Here's the report that we just created. I'm going to schedule this report. So I want this, for this example, I want it to run now. In most cases, you're going to, if you schedule reports on a monthly basis, you'll generally be running them, if they're month-end reports, you'll be running them the first few days of the following month. But for this example, I'm running it now, which is September 15th, 2013. For the prompts, I'm going to leave it empty, so we're not going to select anything here, and the intended effect is to get results from August 2013. So we'll leave the prompts empty, and we'll schedule this report. I'll just pause the video until the report is refreshed successfully. Okay, so here is the instance of the report that we just scheduled without selecting any prompts. I'm going to open this instance, and let's see what we get. Should be results for August 2013. And as we can see, we are getting results for August 2013. So this was Al Williams from Sunset Hill Solutions. I hope you found this video useful. If you're going to be creating dynamic default date prompts in a multi-source universe for Business Objects 4, this is one way to do it. There may be other ways. There almost always is more than one way to do things in Business Objects, but this works for me, and I hope it works for you too. Thanks a lot for watching.